Oh, darlings, gather round for the tale of Queen Victoria, that stern-faced matron whose era we blame for every repressed urge in history. But hold on to your corsets. Turns out Her Majesty's bedroom was less "we are not amused" and more "we are very, very aroused," with practices so terrifyingly passionate they'd make modern reality TV stars look like celibate monks. Imagine swiping right on eternal devotion, only to unleash a royal romp that birthed 9 heirs and enough scandals to fill Buckingham Palace's secret drawers. If this peek into Victoria's velvet chambers has you hooked like a fish on Albert's line, smash that subscribe button for more forbidden frolics. Drop a comment below. Where in the world are you tuning in from? And what's the clock saying? Is it high noon or midnight mischief hour? Ah yes, the Victorian age, a time of top hats, tea parties, and enough sexual repression to make Freud weep with joy. Or so the pamphlets would have you believe, those grubby little scandal sheets peddled on London's fog-shrouded streets, whispering of debutantes fainting at the mere mention of an ankle. But let's pull back the heavy brocade curtains on the real star of the show, Queen Victoria herself, reigning from 1837 to 1901, a diminutive dynamo whose private life was anything but buttoned up. No, my dears, this was a woman whose terrifying sexual practices could rival a Netflix binge of Bridgerton, but with far more irony and far fewer dance cards. We're talking appetites that devoured not just crumpets, but conjugal bliss with the fervor of a starving lioness. And oh, the modern comparisons. If Victoria were alive today, she'd be that influencer dropping thirst traps in full mourning garb, captioning them #RoyalRump, not amused, but very satisfied. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Young Alexandrina Victoria, ascending the throne at a tender 18 in 1837, was no wide-eyed inanju when it came to matters of the heart or the loins. Raised in the shadow of her uncle's debauched Hanoverian legacy, think George IV and his parade of mistresses, enough to stock a tabloid for centuries, she vowed to be different. But vows, as any Regency gossip knows, are made to be broken, or at least bent into intriguing shapes. Enter Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, her cousin and the man who would become the key to unlocking Victoria's vault of desires. Their courtship, pure scandal sheet fodder. Victoria's journals, those juicy tomes that historians drool over, reveal a queen smitten from the start. She gushed, "He is so excessively handsome, such beautiful blue eyes, an exquisite nose, and such a pretty mouth with delicate mustachios." Sounds less like a royal match and more like a Tinder bio, doesn't it? But terrifying? Oh, just wait. The wedding on February 10th, 1840 was the event of the century. White dress trendsetter that she was, Victoria set the fashion world ablaze, though one wonders if the flames were metaphorical.
But it was the wedding night that truly launched the terror. Victoria, ever the candid diarist, described it as bliss beyond belief, with Albert's embraces leaving her in a state of ecstatic exhaustion. "I never spent such an evening," she exclaimed, underlining for emphasis like a teenager texting about their first crush. His body was most beautiful, and the acts? Well, let's just say they weren't sipping chamomile tea. Historians note her voracious appetite for intimacy, a far cry from the prude posterity painted her as. Terrifying, you ask? Imagine a queen so enraptured that she risked the throne's stability with her passions. Power struggles ensued as Albert wormed his way into state affairs, all while keeping her satisfied in the boudoir. It's like if Elon Musk married a CEO and then took over her boardroom meetings between pillow talks. But the real horror unfolded in the marital bed's aftermath, the pregnancies. 9 children in 17 years. Victoria, for all her lusty enthusiasm, loathed the cow-like state of motherhood, as she put it in letters that would make modern mommy bloggers nod in solidarity. What made me so miserable was to have the first 2 years of my married life utterly spoiled by this occupation, she lamented to her daughter. Terrifying practices indeed, enduring constant gestation in an era without epidurals or Netflix to distract from the morning sickness. Each conception a testament to their nightly exercises, as the euphemism went. Gossip pamphlets buzzed with irony. Here was the Empress of Propriety, popping out airs like a human Pez dispenser, all while advising her daughters to avoid the shadow side of marriage. Hypocrisy, or just the terror of biology clashing with desire? Compare it to today's celebs announcing pregnancies on Instagram. Victoria would have posted silhouette pics with captions like, "Another bundle of joy" or "Royal duty." And let's not forget the erotic art collection. Oh yes, the royal couple amassed a fine array of nudes and saucy statues, gifts exchanged with winks and whispers. Victoria even commissioned paintings of bare beauties, shocking her advisors who suggested toning it down. Terrifying in its boldness for a queen whose name became synonymous with prudery. It's as if Taylor Swift started collecting vintage pinups mid-tour. The irony drips like wax from a forbidden candle. Public moralist, private hedonist. Rumors swirled in the underground presses. Did these artworks inspire role plays in the royal chambers? Were there secret buttons installed in their Buckingham Palace bed to lock out intruders mid-tryst? One can only imagine the servants' whispers, those poor souls changing sheets stained with the evidence of regal rapture. Power dynamics added another layer of terror. Albert, the handsome consort, wasn't content with mere bedroom conquests. He seized control of Victoria's duties, turning their union into a battleground of wills. "We women are not made to govern," she once quipped, but post-coitus she'd hand over the reins. Infatuation bred submission, a terrifying prospect for a sovereign. Modern parallel? Think power couples like Beyoncé and Jay-Z, but with crowns and constitutions at stake. The pamphlets loved it. Caricatures of Albert puppeteering her wife, all while she swooned. And the sex? Voracious by all accounts. Victoria's diaries hint at frequencies that would exhaust a marathon runner, leading to those 9 terrors, or children, who scattered across Europe's thrones like confetti from a burst piñata. Yet beneath the bliss lurked darker undercurrents. Victoria's Hanoverian blood boiled with lust, but Albert's Teutonic restraint created friction, literally and figuratively. Some speculate he was the prude, tolerating her appetites out of duty, while others paint him as an equal participant in the erotic arts. Either way, their union was a powder keg of passion, exploding into a dynasty, but leaving Victoria ever hungry. As the years ticked by, the terror evolved, from youthful romps to the grinding reality of royal reproduction. But nothing could prepare for the cataclysm of 1861, Albert's death from typhoid, leaving Victoria a widow at 42, her desires unquenched, and her mourning a spectacle of Gothic proportions. In those early married years, though, it was all fireworks and forbidden fruits. Imagine the court balls where Victoria and Albert would steal glances like teenagers at prom, only to retire early for private audiences. The gossip mills ground overtime. Her Majesty retires with the prince. Again. Irony abounds. A queen preaching morality while practicing multiplication tables in bed. Terrifying for her subjects, who faced syphilis-ridden streets and workhouse woes, while their monarch reveled in conjugal excess. It's like scrolling through TikTok royalty edits today, all glamour and no grit. Whew, and that's merely the matrimonial appetizer, folks. Victoria's terrors were just warming up before Albert's untimely exit turned her into a black-veiled enigma. Tune in for part 2, where widowhood unleashes scandals that would make even the ghosts of Windsor blush. Darlings, picture this. The woman who turned mourning into a full-time career, draped in black for 40 years like a Gothic influencer gone viral. But beneath those endless yards of crepe, Queen Victoria's widowhood wasn't all tears and seclusion. It was a hotbed of terrifying intimacies that had the court clutching their pearls and the scandal sheets printing overtime. If Albert's death was the ultimate cockblock,
Wait till you hear how Her Majesty swiped right on some very unsuitable substitutes. Oh, my scandalous sweets. Where were we? Ah, yes, 1861, the year Prince Albert shuffled off this mortal coil from typhoid, leaving Victoria a widow at 42, her passionate nights reduced to clutching a plaster cast of his hand like some macabre teddy bear. The nation expected perpetual grief. What they got was a queen who reinvented mourning as a lifestyle brand, complete with black everything and enough veils to outfit a convent of dramatic nuns. Modern comparison? Think Kim Kardashian's Balenciaga era, but with more repression and zero selfies. Victoria retreated to Balmoral and Osborne, shunning London like a bad ex, earning the nickname Widow of Windsor. Pamphlets whispered of her madness. The press howled for her return. Irony alert. The Empress of Propriety, hiding away while her empire expanded. But terror lurked in the Highlands. Enter John Brown, that strapping Scottish gilly with a face hewn from granite and manners rougher than his kilt. Originally Albert's pony leader, Brown was summoned south in 1864 to coax the Queen outdoors. What started as pony rides turned into something far steamier, or so the gossip mills churned. Victoria called him darling, slept in adjoining rooms, gasp, and let him boss her around like no one else dared. He carried her over puddles, tucked her in, and became her constant shadow. The court exploded. Her children resented him, ministers fumed, and satirical sheets like Tomahawk caricatured Brown lounging on the throne while Victoria swooned. Terrifying practices? Rumors flew of a secret marriage. Reverend Norman MacLeod allegedly confessed on his deathbed to officiating, and even wilder tales of pregnancy or a love child spirited away. Swiss papers claimed she was in an interesting condition, forcing seclusion. Evidence? Slim, but tantalizing. Victoria buried with Brown's mother's ring, his photo, a lock of his hair, right next to Albert's goodies. When Brown died in 1883, she mourned him as a second husband, writing life was trying and sad for the second time. Historians debate, platonic soulmate or full-blown affair. In an era when widows were expected to fade, Victoria's voracious emotional and possibly physical needs terrified the establishment. It's like if Meghan Markle ditched protocol for a hunky bodyguard. Tabloids would implode. The irony drips thicker than Highland mist. The prude queen preaching morality while allegedly dallying with a servant. Her household called him the Queen's Stallion, and underground pamphlets buzzed with insinuations of bedroom antics in remote cottages. Brown drank heavily, bullied staff, and wielded influence. Power dynamics flipped, with Victoria submissive to his blunt charm. Modern parallel, a CEO falling for her driver, handing over the keys to the kingdom between trysts. Terrifying for class-obsessed Victorians who feared this breached every barrier. But Brown's death left a void, filled later by Abdul Karim, the handsome munchie from India gifted for her 1887 jubilee. Starting as a waiter, Karim taught her Urdair, cooked curries, Victoria's gateway to spice, and rose to confidant. She signed letters, "Your loving mother," promoted him lavishly, and defended him against racist backlash from her household. Rumors? Less sexual than with Brown. Historians lean maternal, platonic, but the scandal was racial. A Muslim Indian influencing the Empress of India? Outrage. Courtiers accused him of manipulation, spying even. Victoria's terrifying widowhood practices, defying expectations by seeking male companionship twice, elevating inferiors while her family seethed. Edward VII burned Karim's letters post-death, erasing him like a bad Tinder match. Irony abounds. The queen who codified mourning, 2 years full black, then half mourning forever, spent decades in emotional affairs that mocked her own rules. Compared to today's royal widows, none dared such boldness. Pamphlets and press feasted. Mrs. Brown reborn as Mrs. Karim? Yet beneath the gossip, Victoria's desires terrified because they humanized her. A woman starved for touch, intellect, dominance after Albert's perfect partnership. No more 9 pregnancies,
but lingering appetites channeled into these intense bonds. Spiritualism, too. Seances to contact Albert, perhaps via Brown as medium. The Terror? A powerful woman refusing celibate sainthood, risking reputation for connection. As the years waned, Victoria's black garb became armor, hiding a heart still aflame. Her court whispered of insatiable widowhood, echoing fears of female sexuality unbound. In our era of #MeToo and royal tell-alls, it's almost tame, but then, pure dynamite.
And just when you thought the widow's weeds couldn't hide more secrets, wait till Part 3 dives into Victoria's final flames with the Munshi and the explosive family fallout. Corsets at the ready, the empire's about to blush. Oh, Petal, if you thought John Brown's kilt-flipping favoritism was peak scandal, brace yourselves for the Munshi mania that turned Buckingham into a pressure cooker of prejudice. Queen Victoria, the black-clad grandmother of Europe, swanned off with a dashing young Indian clerk who taught her Urdu, curry recipes, and how to infuriate an entire empire. Terrifying? Only if you're a racist courtier clutching your pearls over a brown man daring to breathe the same air as royalty. Today's equivalent of a royal TikTok collab going explosively viral. Darlings, let's whisk ourselves to 1887. Victoria's Golden Jubilee, a glittering parade of empire where the aging queen, still swathed in mourning black like a perpetual goth icon, received gifts from her colonies. Among them, 2 Indian servants, including the tall, handsome 24-year-old Abdul Karim from Agra, initially hired to wait tables and present mangoes, one of which, legend has it, she insisted on trying despite warnings it'd be rotten. Talk about royal stubbornness. But oh, the pamphlets would have feasted. Within months, Karim wasn't polishing silver, he was polishing the Queen's Urdu, promoted to Munshi, teacher, and Indian secretary, signing her letters as your loving mother, while she dubbed him her closest friend. Modern comparison? Imagine Queen Elizabeth II elevating a Commonwealth intern to daily confidant, teaching her Hindi over high tea. Heads would roll faster than at a guillotine party. The terror unfolded in layers thicker than Queen Victoria's crepe veils. Karim arrived post-John Brown, that rough Highland hunk who'd filled her emotional void after Albert, and the parallels were delightfully ironic. Like Brown, Karim traveled everywhere with her, occupied prime seats at banquets, and even spent nights in remote cottages. Yes, including Glassalt Shield, Brown's old haunt, prompting whispers hotter than Vindaloo. But where Brown's scandal was class-based, a mere gilly bossing royalty, Karim's detonated racial and imperial fuses. The household erupted. Doctors, secretaries, even her own children seethed as this inferior Muslim rose meteorically, granted lands in India, pensions for his family, and the audacity to advise on Indian affairs, allegedly biasing her toward Muslims amid rising Hindu-Muslim tensions. Court circulars named him prominently. He played billiards in palaces, had private carriages, and introduced curry to the royal menu. Imagine her Instagramming #curry night if she'd had the tech. She defended him ferociously, accusing detractors of race prejudice and jealousy of the poor Munshi. Fritz Ponsonberry, her assistant secretary, fumed in letters. Staff threatened mass resignations during the 1897 Diamond Jubilee, dubbed the Year of the Munshi in sarcastic whispers. Caricatures roasted the pair mercilessly, depicting Karim as a manipulative Svengali pulling strings on the Empress of India.
Historians largely agree it was platonic. Karim, decades younger, filled the roles Albert once did: husband, friend, father, mother in emotional support. No evidence of physical intimacy, unlike the steamier Brown rumors, but the intensity terrified the establishment. Victoria signed letters, "Your loving mother," hosted his family, even arranging medical exams when they struggled to conceive, and ignored pleas to demote him. He taught wide-ranging topics: philosophy, politics, daily life in India, countering the sanitized reports from viceroys. Irony alert, the Queen preaching Christian morality while elevating a Muslim servant above white aristocrats in an era of jingoistic empire building. Compared to today, a world leader cozying up to a foreign aide amid cultural clashes, Think headlines screaming influence peddling or security risk. The household spied on Karim, accused him of leaking info, unproven, and dug into his background, discovering he wasn't elite nobility, but a humble clerk's son. Gasp! Yet Victoria lavished gifts, portraits, jewels, estates. By her Diamond Jubilee, she paraded in an open carriage, tiny and triumphant, while backstage intrigue boiled. As the century waned, Victoria's health faded. Rheumatism, cataracts, that eternal black garb now armor against a changing world. Widowed for decades, her terrifying practices weren't carnal romps, but defiant emotional bonds, refusing the celibate saint role expected of royal widows. Brown and Karim bookended her solitude, humanizing the icon while horrifying purists. Family fallout? Explosive. Bertie, future Edward VII, loathed both favorites. Daughters grumbled over inheritance slights. The pinnacle of terror came in 1901. On her deathbed at Osborne House, surrounded by family, Victoria issued final instructions. Among principal mourners, Abdul Karim. And in her coffin, secretly, per her doctor Sir James Reed, mementos not just of Albert, plaster handcast photos, but John Brown's photo, lock of hair, and whispers persist of Karim items too, though less documented. Then the purge. Hours after her funeral, Edward VII summoned Karim, dismissed him, shipped him back to India, and ordered bonfires of their correspondence, erasing him like a colonial footnote. Karim's Agra estate survived, but his diary, rediscovered in 2010, revealed the depth, wide-ranging talks, genuine affection. The irony? This prude-era namesake, whose reign codified repression, spent her twilight defying class, race, and protocol for human connection. Scandal sheets of the day buzzed with Munshi mania. Today's royals face similar scrutiny, but Victoria's boldness was dynamite. Terrifying practices, seeking solace beyond duty, risking reputation for a curry-scented confidant. In death, she clutched secrets from Albert, Brown, perhaps Karim, a final rebellion against erasure. And with that deathbed bonfire of vanities, Victoria's terrifying intimacies went up in smoke, or so they thought. But darlings, secrets this juicy always resurface. Stay tuned for the epilogue where we unwrap the myths and the man who almost became royal history's ghost.